Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are watching the station identification of one of Wayland City's resident YouTubers. Live in the basement. This is not MTV's remote control. And he is not Ken Ober. God rest Ken Ober's soul. This is WEML-TV, Channel 77. And now here's your host, New Bedford, Massachusetts' own Mr. Eric M. Lima. Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer. Praise the Lord. God is good. God is great. Jesus is alive and well. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Call a familiar face. Call everyone, all the folks you know, from family, relatives, to companions, friends, acquaintances, co-workers, colleagues. Tell even an enemy or tell a friend of me. You can tell him that your boy is doing another episode of his YouTube show. It is the CBS station identification. No, not the pharmacy, but its channel vlog show. It is known as WEML-TV Channel 77. And I'm the host of the show because where there's ordinary and there's me, Eric Lima. What's going on, everybody? Beautiful Tuesday afternoon, 12:51 p.m., October the 12th, 2021 on a Tuesday. What's going on? Middle of October, and it's still in the 70s out there. Well, actually, I'll take it's 68, but still, it's still a little warm for the middle of October. Amazing. Totally amazing. Let's get right into it, all right? Because there's a lot to talk about. Monday Night Raw last night. It kicked off with Drew McIntyre addressing the crowd about how he's running out of time because this may be his last shot at the WWE Championship, with him going over to SmackDown a week from this Friday. Big E interrupts him, and basically, Big E cuts the promo. Best way he knows how. He says, listen, if you want the title, you have to get by me, and you're not going to get by me. I intend to keep this title. The Usos made a surprise appearance on Monday Night Raw, and they decided to run their mouths, and Big E says, hey, you can't just walk away and run your mouths and walk away. What do you want? So the Usos challenged both Big E and McIntyre to a match, and then they attacked them, pushing Drew McIntyre into Big E. Big E and Drew McIntyre were exchanging words a little bit, and then so they later on they made that official. Kevin Patrick was interviewing the New Day, and the first round matches were Xavier Woods against Ricochet, and the other first round was Kofi Kingston versus Jinder Mahal. And then Kevin Patrick was asking New Day, what if you two were facing each other? And they started chuckling and laughing about it, and they said, hey, we got to go out there. So they basically didn't answer the question. So the match happened, and it was a heck of a matchup because that match could have gone either way. High-flying skills, technical skills, they've done it all, and Ricochet, I thought he would win, but Xavier Woods wins it. He was obsessed with the King of the Ring. It'll only be a matter of time, too. That means he has to wait the winner of the Kingston-Mahal matchup. Randy Orton Riddle talked about Omos, and while Riddle decided to challenge Omos to a matchup, and Randy Orton thought Riddle was nuts. And he's trying to do the same play as Randy Orton did. So I'm like, oh boy. And then in tag team action, Mansoor and Mustafa Ali faces the newly reunited Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin of the Hurt Business. I want to know how that came about. I still want to know how that came about. And but I'll tell you one thing: that both teams were see how they would gel, because Mansoor and Mustafa Ali have been on a losing streak, while Alexander and Benjamin just got back together. And Alexander and Benjamin did win the match, and Mustafa Ali got upset when Mansoor shoved him down. And then the Queen's Crown of round one, as you know, Zelina Vega and Carmella will face each other in the semis from the SmackDown side. This is the Raw side. Well, Dana Brooke went one-on-one with Shayna Baszler. Baszler did win with a pinfall. And then Charlotte Flair cut a promo on Belair, Banks, and Lynch, and says, I don't care about any of them, I care about me, basically. And then Matt Riddle went one-on-one with Omos, and typical Omos faction. Well, AJ Styles is at ringside running his mouth. Omos beats Riddle, but then Orton's music played, and AJ Styles and Omos were looking around, letting Riddle escape, and then again, Orton came out of nowhere, hit an RKO out of nowhere. Be very interesting to see how this goes. And then Big E and Drew McIntyre were talking about what happened, and they said, hey, listen, for the betterment, I said we team up. The Usos are tough. Let's get it done. And then afterwards, we'll worry about each other. And Bobby Lashley addresses the San Francisco crowd about Goldberg and how he thinks Goldberg's a murderer. He's a psychopath. He shouldn't be here. Blah, 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 blah. Well, Bobby Lashley, if you hadn't put his son in a hurt lock and abused him, maybe you wouldn't be here. Put yourself in this situation, you moron. I'll tell you one thing. Logic here, you don't mess with someone's kid and expect to get off scot-free, dude. Bobby Lashley is an idiot sometimes. Then Sasha Banks addresses Lynch and Belair in their triple threat match for Crown Jewel. And Sasha Banks says she's the boss. And Sasha is the only person to remain on SmackDown, while Becky Lynch and Belair will move to Raw after Crown Jewel. Jeff Hardy went one-on-one with the newest member of the Raw roster, former NXT standout Austin Theory, and Austin Theory pulled off an upset, beating Jeff Hardy. And I'm going, oh boy. Oh boy, Austin Theory is going to be full of himself when he gets, probably would talk to Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, and Indy Hartwell about that. And then Bianca Belair had her say against Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. Remember that these ladies are still on SmackDown until after Crown Jewel. And then they had the final first round match of the King of the Ring on the Raw side, on the Raw bracket. Kofi Kingston against Jinder Mahal. And Veer and Shanky, they're still with him because, like I said, because I think Shanky's Shanky's staying on Raw while Veer and Jinder Mahal will go to SmackDown. Mahal did pick up the victory over Kofi Kingston. Now the semi-final brackets is set, as on the SmackDown side it'll be Sami Zayn and Finn Balor, and on the Raw side it'll be Xavier Woods and Jinder Mahal. Whoever wins that, whoever wins that will face each other in the King of the Ring finals at Crown Jewel. I have an idea. I think whoever wins the King of the Ring and the Queen's Crown tournaments should be allowed to jump on both brands, or even go to NXT and jump on that. Or I should say, get a title shot from either brand. For 1 year, they're allowed to jump back and forth. After the year is expired, if another King of the Ring tournament comes up, then they have to give up the crown, like Shinsuke Nakamura did. When he found out about the tournament, he decided to give up the crown. He is still the Intercontinental Champion and the King of Strong Style. Bear that in mind. Well, before the matchup, once again, Kevin Patrick interviewed the New Day again. They say, we got to get out there. We got to get out there. So that was before the match started. And then Becky Lynch was the final person to address Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. And then and then all four ladies came out for their tag team matchup, and they brawled to the point where we're going to get this match underway. The officials had to come out and say, stop it, we're having a fight, and we're having a matchup. So I thought, okay. So they kept on brawling, though. It got to the point where it ended up being a no contest in that matchup. It was crazy. I mean, I'll tell you what, Bayley had not gotten hurt, I'm sure she would be in the thick of things on this. When you talk about the battle of four horsewomen, I have to admit, all four horsewomen of NXT have really stepped it up. I've really stepped it up with their attitudes, their skills, everything. I mean, their promos. They're really, really stepping things up, man. They are really stepping up. And then the final matchup for the final first round match with the Queen's Crown Dewdrop, a.k.a. Piper Niven, who knows a thing or two about tournaments, being part of the Mae Young Classic, and I think the NXT UK Women's Championship tournaments as well. Went against Natalia. Dewdrop did pick up the victory. So Dewdrop will take on Shayna Baszler on the Raw side, where Shayna Baszler is going to SmackDown. Dewdrop remaining on Raw, while Zelina Vega and Carmella will be going over to Raw. But they're still SmackDown until after Crown Jewel. They'll be facing each other in the semifinals. So whoever wins those two matches will face each other in the finals at Crown Jewel. And then Big E was getting ready for his tag team match with Drew McIntyre. And Austin Theory decides to stop by and take a selfie with him. And Big E's like, what the heck are you doing, son? Austin Theory, you're a nutcase and a half. Ali talks to Mansoor, and then Ali's dissing Mansoor and all that. Mansoor's trying to keep him intact, and he's talking to Kevin Patrick. And then Mustafa Ali attacked Mansoor to the point where Mansoor and Ali will go at it at Crown Jewel. That will be an interesting matchup. And then Big E and Drew McIntyre fought the Usos, and then during the match of miscommunication caused both McIntyre and Big E to beat the snot out of each other, and they were counted out. So Usos won by count out, but then the Usos attacked them. And then they continued. Then Big E and McIntyre continued to fight, and then McIntyre decided to walk away. I'm telling you something right now. This is going to be a crazy event, to say the least. I may have to make my picks and predictions after this Friday night on SmackDown or probably Tuesday after, probably during the week. I'll do that on Wednesday. I'll do that on Wednesday, even though Whammy Mania Wednesday, I'll probably do my picks and predictions then. Because I think it's going to be very interesting, to say the least, of what's going to happen. And believe me, it's crazy. And then after Crown Jewel, new rosters take place. We're going to see a lot of debuts. Hit Row is on their way. And Austin Theory's already made his debut last night and beat Jeff Hardy, for goodness sakes, the Grand Slam champion. And Jeff Hardy's going to SmackDown as well. We'll see what happens. So I'm looking forward to it. So that is all the time we have on this show. Episode 624 has been complete. And now, on the next episode, it's Tic Tac Tuesday. You know what that means? It's ready. Me and Sackboy, we're going to go at it. We'll see what happens, all right? I'll see you guys later. Until the next episode, peace, love, bless out.